All right, I'll call the meeting to order at 7:01 p.m., February 10th, 2021. This is the Litchfield Zoning Board of Adjustment. We have one item on the agenda this evening. It is case number 2021-02. The name of the applicant is Alan Lajoie, I believe, is correct, Lajoie. Owner of the property is the same. The location of the property is at 2 Buttonbush Lane, Litchfield, New Hampshire, map 14, lot 77. The applicant seeks a variance from Litchfield Zoning Ordinance Section 310.00 to allow construction of a detached garage. That garage will encroach 19.9 feet into the side setback requirement of 20 feet, and will also encroach 0.9 feet into the front setback requirement of 50 feet. So that is the ordinance that we have in front of us this evening, or the variance request, I should say, that we have in front of us this evening. Do we have the applicant with us on the call this evening?
Yes, you do.
And is this Mr. Do I have the name right, Mr. Lajoie?
Yes, that's correct.
Very good. So what I want to do before we get started is a couple of things. First and foremost, we have 4 members with us this evening. You have 3 members here tonight. I'll do a quick roll call if we could. We also have one on the dialing in on the phone. So my name, Richard Riley. I'm present.
John Devereaux, present.
Al Gilbo, present.
And Laura?
Laura Gandia, present.
So we have 4 members of the board present here this evening. A full quorum would be 5 members. So typically what would happen here is when we start your hearing, we would invite you to present your criteria. The board might ask some questions. Once we get through the Q&A period with your specific applications, we would open it up for public input. If we have public input speaking in favor, we'll hear that. If we have any against, we'll hear that. Once we get through the public input phase, we close public input. We will then just make sure that we've heard all the final, we'll give you a chance to rebut any public input. But essentially, once we close all of that, all of the input, then the board would deliberate and make a decision here this evening. I point that out because with 4, you're required, in order to get your variance approved, you need a minimum of 3 board members to agree to your request for a variance. So again, I remind you, we have 4 members tonight. A full quorum would be 5. Numerically speaking, your odds are better with 5 members present because you're trying to get 3 people to agree. So one of the first things we need to ask is if you wish to proceed with a 4-member board this evening, or do you wish to push it out another 30 days? Our next regular meeting date would be March 10th, I believe, is the second Wednesday in March. So you would have that option, and hopefully we would have a full board in March.
So my first, comment is you cannot guarantee that in March I would have a full board.
That's correct.
That is correct. That is correct. Yes.
Right. And if we would go tonight with the smaller board, and you would say no, I don't have. Do I have process where I can appeal that?
You would be able to appeal the board's decision, but not on the basis of lacking a full quorum. If you were to agree tonight to proceed with 4 members, then, that settles that question. You would not be able to appeal on those grounds alone.
All right, so let's just, we'll go with the 4. It is what it is, and we'll just proceed.
Very good. So I would ask, Michelle, the record reflect, please, that the applicant has agreed to move forward with a 4-member board this evening. I've already read what the application is. So, Mr. LaJoy, at this point, what I'll do is turn it over to you. In your application, you were asked to address 5 specific criteria. In order to grant the variance, you would need to get, convince the board that, you meet all of those 5 criteria. So what I would ask now is that you present that criteria. We need to get that entered into the record, read into the record. So you can elaborate. You don't have to read word for word. We do have copies of the application here. But essentially, we need to walk through the process here in this forum. So I'll turn it over to you and just start with the first criteria.
Well, so thank you for letting me not go verbatim for the form, because I found that form extremely confusing, where I thought that question 1 and question 2 were identical, whereas, there's no impact that is going to create anything hazardous or anything to the community in my request. It's pretty straightforward, that we wish to build a garage, and we're, I think 2 inches from the 50-foot variance, but we encroach on the property. It's not going to create any hazards. It's not going to be an eyesore or any of those things. So that's how I feel about those 2.
All right, and then the third criteria is substantial justice would be done because?
So, you have to forgive me. I just got home from work, so I don't have the form in front of me. But, we're adding value. I think in my neighborhood, which, we're on a cul-de-sac with 7 houses or 6 houses, and only, 3 have garages. We're going to add value to the property. I'm not doing anything that I think will make my abutters properties devalue in price. So, again, I'm sorry, I don't have the form in front of me. I worked outside of Boston, and I just got home. I actually drove to Town Hall because I didn't read the full letter. My bad, and I thought it was going to be in person. So I sped home, and I'm glad I got in here right when you were reading mine. So perfect timing on my part.
He's allowed to come in, wasn't he?
That's not a problem. I don't think so. I don't know. But either water under the bridge right now.
Right.
I do have your original application here. So let me just, for the sake of getting this fully into the record, the response to criteria number 1, the variance will not be contrary to the public interest because, and your response is, it will not alter the essential character of the locality or threaten the public health, safety, or welfare of the public. Number 2, the spirit of the ordinance is observed because, and here your response is, it does not alter the essential character of the neighborhood or threaten public health, safety, or welfare. Thus, it is in spirit of the ordinance. So, number 3, just to get that one, substantial justice is done because, and your response there was, the house was not centered of the lot by the builder. The septic is located on the side of the house where a variance would not be needed, but this will add significant cost to the project if it needs to be moved, and I believe you're referring to the garage, if that was being moved to the other side. Yeah.
Correct. This was just for history. We moved I grew up in Hudson, and we bought a condo in Nashua, and this was our first true house purchase. And hindsight 2020, you never know, but we bought the spec house, the model house, and when you look at my property, everything is to the right. And hindsight 2020, I should have said don't do this, that, and the other thing, but we were trying to get into a house and afford it with 2 young kids. And it should have been, don't put the Litchfield there, but they put it right on the left side of my house, on the, looking at it on the left side. So, we're talking new septic design and moving and all that, and it's just not cost effective for me to do that.
Okay, understood. What I'll do is I'll read in the fourth criteria here. That criteria is...
I really appreciate you going through that for me. Thank you.
Not a problem, not a problem. We're here to help you. The values of the surrounding properties are not diminished because, and your response there is adding a garage to property will increase the value of this property and all surrounding properties. Anything you want to add to that?
So again, this was new construction, and out of the 7 houses or so on the cul-de-sac, 3 of them were built with garages, 1 added, 1 later. So I'm not a real estate expert, but I just think it adds value to everybody's property when this type of stuff is done. Again, I don't work for RE/MAX. That's a pure assumption on my part, and I could be wrong, but I think it adds value to everybody.
Very good. Thank you for that. And the last criteria on the application is literal enforcement of the provisions of the ordinance would result in an unnecessary hardship because, and here your response to that is placement of the structure on the other side of the home will cause us to have to move the septic and pave a new driveway. I feel that this is a reasonable request that will not alter the character of the neighborhood. And by, I think your last, what you mean is you feel that the proposed location is a more reasonable request than having to move it to the other side of the house. Is that what you were saying there?
Yeah, correct. That's correct. And I think one of the benefits here is on that side of the house where I want to put it, between me and my neighbor's house, there's probably a 30 or, well, I'm not good at this measuring, but it's at least 30 yards of wood that we have between our properties. So I know I'm abutting his property, but there is a, I don't know what you want to call it, like, there's a buffer there because, again, of course, if he knocks all that down and builds right up to me, the buffer's gone. But there's a buffer between our properties, and as I said, putting it on the other side is just, for me right now, where I am at my life, wanting to retire, it's a hardship.
All right. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to ask members of the board if they have any questions for Mr. LaJoy. Laura, you're on the phone. I can't see you. So why don't I ask first, do you have anything you would like to ask of the applicant?
I do not.
Okay.
I do.
Okay. Please go ahead.
Mr. LaJoy, Al Gilbo speaking. I'm wondering why the detached garage and why not build it attached to the garage and get it off of the lot line?
That is a great question. Again, here finances play. If I attach it, I'll still need I'll still need to get you guys involved. But then I'm adding, $20,000 because now I have to do a deeper foundation. Mm-hmm. I'm going to need the firewall between the house and the garage. So it was for economic reasons that I detached it a little bit.
And do you know what the distance is between the house and the detached garage?
It varies because it's at a bit of an angle. At the entrance, at the very front of the house, it's about 6 or 7 feet, and then it opens up a little bit, maybe to 10 or so feet by the time you get to the end of the garage. Probably more than that. But again, I'm bad at this stuff. I estimate all that stuff. I'm pretty bad.
Okay.
And this is for this is Rick Riley here again. I believe you're proposing, based on the dimensions, a 2-car garage or 2-bay garage. Is that accurate?
Correct, 2-bay garage.
And from my experience, is that pretty common for a 2-car garage, those dimensions, 20 by 24?
Yeah, 22 by 24, yeah.
All right.
Pretty common, yeah.
Yeah, we actually reduced it. That's a great point. It was 20. It was going to be 2 feet wider, but when the surveyor came out, he said that's not going to work. So we went back and we reduced it, and to get within the property line and try to get a variance.
Now, you don't have any letters from your abutters, in particular, the abutter that's most impacted by this? I didn't see anything in the file. I just want to make sure I'm not missing anything to that effect.
No, that's Paul Gingras, and he has not approached me or sent me anything at all. And actually, we were just the last snowstorm, snow blowing and blowing our cars off together, and he never said a word.
Hi, this is actually the Gingras residence. So there's a couple of things that have kind of happened. So the United States Postal Office had tried to deliver us this letter
could I ask you to,
on January.
I'm sorry, could I ask you to, yes, could you just pause for one moment, please? We're about ready to open it up to the public, and at that point, that's when I would love to hear you reply. I assume you're an abutter or a member of the public that is interested in speaking on this matter, right?
That's correct.
All right, so just for procedural purposes, if you could just bear with me for a couple more moments while we get through the board's questions. Thank you. Well, should just take a couple more minutes.
No, absolutely.
Thank you. Any other questions for the applicant at this time?
So the shed, does that become part of this?
Well, it's not part of this, but my understanding is the town has, because this application, I guess because the code officer was out there, looked things over, they did pick up on the fact that the shed is in violation, but it's not a matter for us tonight because he's not asking for anything.
It's not part of it. It's not part of that.
I think the town's put him on notice that he has to correct it, but it's... So just for clarification, Mr. LaJoie, you are not here seeking any relief for a shed. It is just the detached garage.
Correct, and I didn't know that shed was in violation until we did the survey for the garage.
Right.
So I will be moving that in the spring.
Is the Al Gilbo speaking? Is the buffer, the wood buffer, is it the whole width, or I should say the whole length of that side of the lot? Is it 90 feet wide?
No, that is the rightmost part of the garage. Because the garage is at an angle, it gets closer to the lot line as you go further back.
Okay, so the woods get thinner the further back you go, correct?
That would be a correct statement.
Okay.
While the woods are as thick as they are, I get closer to their lot line as the further back I go in the shed. So the wood's never thin.
Okay. All right.
And could I also ask, this is Rick Riley again, the relief that is needed for the frontage, which is a requirement of 50 feet, and you're encroaching just under a foot into that front setback, is that because the placement of the garage is such that you couldn't go any further back without slipping into, or without going over your side lot line?
Yes, I would say that that's correct. That was a suggestion from the surveyor to place it like that. And it, quote unquote, if you're going to try to get one variance, try to get two.
Yep.
All right. Interesting. All right, any other questions for the board before I open it up to the public? Do I need a motion to open up to the public? Yeah, I'll ask for a motion to open it up to the public.
Motion to open.
I have a motion to open it up to the public from John.
And I will second the motion.
I'll seconded. So now at this point, I would ask if there's any members of the public that are out there that would wish to speak, either in favor or opposed, please state your name and address, and then we'd love to hear from you.
Hi. So this is Paul and Adina Gingras of 4 Buttonbush Lane. So we're the abutters, and we just actually received a letter from the United States Postal Office, like just a little bit before they closed at 4:45 today. So we didn't even know that there was going to be a hearing. They had tried delivering us this letter, and we weren't home that day, and we thought that they were going to be re-delivering the letter. So essentially, we just found out about this about 2.5 hours ago. So anyways, we're on the call.
Thank you.
We're just trying to understand a little bit more about the encroachment and, the proceedings in regards to the detached garage.
So, town ordinances set forth setback requirements for front, side, and rear. This particular zone that your properties are located in would would require 50 feet of frontage, which means from wherever the town, wherever your lot line starts in the front of your home, it's 50 feet from there to to any structure. And the side setbacks are defined the same way. Wherever that side lot line is, you have a 20-foot setback requirement before you're allowed to put any particular permanent structure, on your property. What the applicant is seeking here is the authorization to construct a 2-car garage that will be detached from their existing home, and the placement of this particular detached garage will literally be less than a foot from their property line. Exactly. So from that side lot line. Okay, so instead of 20 feet of buffer or setback from that side lot line to the garage, there's going to be less than a foot of setback from that lot line to the proposed garage.
I think the eave,
And it's measured from the eave, that's what I was told,
I think the eave is actually less than that.
Well, I don't know, I think in this case it was measured from the eave.
It was, okay.
Yeah, that's what somebody had told me. But in either case, that's a requirement that they would have had to have worked out with the code officer. I mean, they're asking for, 19.9 feet? So
Yeah, so,
0.1 foot
Yep.
is all that's going to be left of the side setback requirement here. Furthermore, they've also asked for relief from the front setback requirement because of the placement of the garage. They will encroach less than 1 foot into that 50-foot setback on the front. So not much of an encroachment on the front, but pretty much taking all of it on the side and putting that garage right onto the lot line. The buffer that they were referring to would have to be on your property, because there's no other place for it, so it must be on your property. So I don't know if I explained that property, but if you got any more questions, I'd be happy to explain, and we may even be able to put a drawing up for you too if you'd like to see something.
Yeah, so that's one thing that we don't have. We don't have a drawing. I mean, we're, logged online, and we're not really, able to see anything, so I think that would definitely be helpful.
Did you get in the notice, there should have been a link to a ZBA portal?
So we're on the YouTube channel right now, but the WebEx one we are not on.
Right, no, but the letter that you would have received, the certified letter that you would have received in the mail, one of those bullets directs you to a ZBA portal for to look at the original application. That's where you would also find the drawing. So if you can get that letter,
We didn't even have a chance to see that yet, because like I said, we literally got this like 2 hours.
is there a way I can show that map?
So.
Or can you access the web? Or can John, maybe John can access the web?
So.
John Burnell, do you think that's something you could bring up by any chance? Take over and just do a share? John Burnell, are you on the line with us? All right. The only other thing I have is a hard copy here that I could hold up. That's about all I got. I have to hold it up to the camera, huh?
Oh, somebody's doing it.
Oh, Michelle's going to try to do it.
Working it.
So we're going to try to bring up our website here, guys, and see if we can bring up the application with the drawing. How we doing, Michelle?
Do 1 minute.
Said 1 minute.
Okay.
Working it.
Just get us on mute.
There, can you not see it, or?
Right. We can tell you're trying to share content, but right now it just says that you're still starting to set it up.
Huh?
Could be just a little slow.
Yeah, because I got it up there, but it's, oh, maybe because I'm not the host?
Oh, it should come up.
Are you sharing your desktop?
You and Michelle.
Oh, I know why. How do I share my desktop? That's what I need.
Under the share button, if you have a chance to share, it usually gives you a choice between an application or the desktop.
Oh, okay, because I think I'm sharing my Windows Explorer.
Yeah, you're sharing the application and not the desktop.
I have to put it on my desktop?
Or you just have to put it on your screen.
Just share your screen instead of the application.
Yeah.
Okay, hang on, let me try it again.
Okay. I call it desktop, but it's whatever screen has a chance for you to share a whole screen versus the application.
Right.
That's usually the easiest way to do it.
Okay, so if I go into this screen, will you see the, go into this screen and I move this over here. Hey! Are you starting to see it now?
Nope.
Not yet.
That's what we're asking you folks, if there's, because it is an undersized lot, if there's a way that, we're not looking for, a blanket to go ahead and do whatever you want. We did get the state's approval, nobody ever said to us that we couldn't keep cars there. We keep business hours.
So
Nothing yet, huh?
no, not yet, Michelle. I'm not sure who was. I'm not sure who was just speaking. I don't know if you were speaking to the board or not, but we're having a challenge here trying to bring up the map right now. Did you need something from me or?
You might be able to try pulling up on that WebEx meeting before.
If you get the screen up, I might be able to help share. I'm good at sharing, but not so much
yeah.
the ZBA link. I have a horrible time finding anything on that thing.
This has, an Internet Explorer somewhere here.
I believe so.
Oh, for some reason I can't get this to share.
All right.
All right, I got another idea.
Yeah, keep working it because we're working on our side too.
How did we get to?
Now I can't get my thing to go open now.
My problem, do you know what the portal is? Does it say it in there?
Is it list,
Yeah, it should be in that notice.
I am seeing the link for the
I
web.
can't get it to go open. Can you see this?
I'm not seeing it.
Wow.
You can see your front page.
No, that's
Oh, that's
That's Rick.
John.
yeah, Rick's doing it.
Oh,
I mean, that's
am I
Rick.
doing it?
Yep,
Yeah, that's you.
that's you, Rick.
We're occupying the whole screen right now.
This isn't gonna happen.
But then we have to share that.
Unless I know exactly what my URL is, I can't pull it up.
I don't know why it won't share.
Yeah, this is, I didn't notice anything on the.
All right.
Oh, yeah, I'm on page two.
I've done it before. I don't know, for some reason, it just doesn't want to share content. Try something else. What if I get this?
There's Laura.
Laura.
Again, yeah. Hi, Laura.
Laura, can you call up the ZBA slide? The map on the link?
Here it is. I got it. I don't know if I have to take this whole darn.
I can
thing in.
describe it real well. This is your line, this is the garage.
Yeah. Well, not so.
Where am I going? Forward slash. State that.
I thought it said that it was over. The eve was over.
I think, if I read it correctly, it said that the eave was less than a foot from the lot line.
Okay.
Please work.
Look at that,
There it is.
you're almost there. Excuse me. This is where
Can you see anything?
We're
I got it.
working it.
So as soon as you get the map, then you'll just have to share this screen.
I take it you don't see mine, right?
We actually are not looking at it at the moment.
No, but
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. The fact that you're trying is really good.
I'm not really sure.
Trying.
I don't think I can do a rotation. But I'll stay here and operate. Mr. LaJoy, can you hear me? This is Richard Riley speaking. Mr. LaJoy?
Yes, I can.
Okay, good. So what I have here is one of the attachments that we received with your application. Is this a photograph of the front of the home? Can you see us by any chance?
I don't think you're sharing yet.
I'm not?
I don't think so. Are we sharing?
This is what's going out on TV.
Ask Laura. Laura, can you see this screen?
I think you have to share the screen with your WebEx.
So you want to keep that, but you want to go back to WebEx.
Yeah.
Oh, where the heck was the WebEx?
Bottom of the tab there, it's blinking orange, right there. Open it, open.
Yeah. Share.
Screen.
Take a look.
I think I want the screen. Okay. Well, I actually want to do the screen, but I'll do the screen.
Yeah, you gotta hit the blue button. There you go.
Okay, maybe.
Can they see that?
Laura, can you see the pictures?
I'm not on, I'm just on the phone.
Oh, you're just on the phone, so she's not gonna be able to see it.
Michelle,
How about
can you see the
Michelle?
pictures?
I don't see a picture, I just see town hall is starting to share content.
Okay.
But I'm wondering if that's because I have mine open.
No, only one person will share at the same time.
Okay.
John Devereux is not on them.
John Brunel?
No, John Brunel, I mean.
But I mean, I'm not worried because I have a copy, but they may not be able to see.
Well, you could tell because it'll actually say you're sharing, and it's not really showing sharing at the moment. Let me see if I can help. Excuse me. You have to click the blue button. The blue button share, click the blue button share.
We have to keep asking. Can anybody see, can you see the picture now by any chance?
Michelle, can you see the picture?
I don't see a picture right now.
Maybe we're not able to share properly. It doesn't look like it's working.
You have to give up the seat, but, yeah, I don't know why I'm not able, I share. I can share the
Yeah, try that.
presentation, but I don't think that's working either.
It says viewing town hall's application, but it doesn't, it is just a blank screen.
Yeah, it's not coming up. Well, it's worth a shot. Maybe you can, how about an email? If you had that link, maybe you could email her the link.
That's a good idea.
But she still needs to get her computer up to be able to see it.
Yeah, Michelle, if you wanna try to, if you can email them, we just need the applicant to tell us where to email it to.
If I hold it up in front of the camera, will you be able to see it?
I don't know.
Perhaps.
Good try.
Oops.
We do.
What the heck did I just do?
Nothing, I think you're still on WebEx. Don't delete that.
Put the mouse down here.
There you go.
There we go. Oh, it's not great.
Oh, that's cool.
That's not bad. Better than nothing.
And it's backwards.
All right, so we're challenged here being able to try to display the map. Let me see if I can get this meeting back under control here. So, I don't have the name of the abutter that was speaking.
I'm not sure either.
Could I ask, who the neighbor was that was, Michelle, who was the neighbor that was speaking earlier?
I didn't get your first name, but her last name is Gingers.
Yes, that's correct. Paul and Adina Gingras, we're at
Adina.
4 Buttonbush.
Thank you. So I can't seem to get to the point where I can show you this particular drawing that was submitted with the application.
Yeah, we're looking at the video and we can't see it either.
I was hoping I could get some help from John Brunel. I haven't been able to hear from him either. So, I mean, we have to be able to make this information available to you at this point. And since we're not able to, I'm hesitant to proceed. I mean, I need to make sure that you're satisfied that you're able to comment on, you know, what's being put forward here. This is one of the challenges with hosting these remote meetings. You know, I mean, we did what we had to do. We sent everything out in time. It's unfortunate that you got it, the letter late. I don't know how that's happened, although I have heard that the post office intervals have gone longer lately. So, if I can't come up with another way of doing this, then at this point I may have to delay, you know, considering this any further until we can get over this technical problem. Good.
I think we should make a
Can
motion.
somebody take a picture with their cell phone and forward it to them? Via text?
I guess we could do that.
I don't know. Do
mean-
I have her phone number? Because I do have a phone number.
It's, I think the text is gonna be very small. It's gonna be hard to look at what we really need to look at.
I don't even have my phone with me.
Yeah, mine's in the truck, John.
I do have a phone.
We can try. Oh, no, this isn't the right phone number. So we would need this person to actually give us a phone number over the public airways for us to do this.
Which is probably not appropriate.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't like getting email or phone numbers in this kind of a form. Laura Gandhi, are you on the phone? Do you have any suggestions for us? Or am I right in thinking that I can't proceed if I can't get past this technical hurdle?
No, yeah, unfortunately, you are right. I'm trying to see if I can maybe share a screen in a second. I'm just gonna try to do something here in a second. Let me see.
I don't know if that's a restriction and how we're set up or what.
Well, usually if there's a problem, it won't allow you to share.
Yeah.
And it's actually trying to share, so it's seems like there's some sort of issue, because the way WebEx works is either you have permission or you don't. There's no like in between. So the fact that once
you
we're
don't have
sharing is
permission.
trying to do it and not being successful is questionable from my point of view.
Genghis? So while we're still working on this, Mr. and Mrs. Genghis, is there anything else you would like to ask or any comments you would like to make?
I think I have the plot plan. I'm gonna take a picture and I'll walk it over to my neighbor.
That's gonna take a long time.
Is that
Okay.
Is that acceptable?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. Well, I guess we have to take about a 5-minute recess then, if that's gonna be the case, because we can't even conduct any questioning without the applicant being present. So,
So
go ahead.
So I'm not sure how much a picture will help. Obviously, a picture helps, but the abutter, the proposed garage, detached garage, is going to be literally 1 foot away from your lot line. So picture your lot line in between 4 button bush and 2 button bush, and then picture a garage being 1 foot away from your lot line, and that's what the request is by the ZBA.
It's actually less than 6 inches, isn't it?
1 foot and 6 inches are
I don't know.
practically the same.
0.1 foot.
So I have to say, like, we have a little bit of reservation just from, we live here right now, but as far as a resale value, I'm not sure how that would really come into play.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I'm not a real estate expert. We don't have any real estate people on the board here. I've been on the board for, I don't know, about 20 years. I can't recall of an encroachment coming this close to the lot line.
Me neither.
Hey, Rich, can you see my camera?
I do.
I do,
Can you see the map, the picture?
I do.
Make me like, bigger?
It's kind of small, but
It's not bad. Mr. and Mrs. Jingus, can you see the map that's being displayed in one of the windows?
It's very tiny, so it's really like hard to decipher.
Yeah. I wonder if can we enlarge her? Can you enlarge your screen, Laura, and take over the? Can we make?
I think that's gonna be something that each person has to do. You have to put it on speaker view, so when I speak, my screen becomes bigger.
Well, hold on, maybe we can do that from here.
That might be what each individual would have to set it up that way, I
Think
think.
so, really?
I think so.
Oh, my goodness.
So we would set it up for ourselves.
We're trying to like zoom in, but it's like, I mean, it's a little bit more than a thumbnail like sketch, but it's
Yeah.
not much bigger than that.
Oh, yeah, so now it's gonna focus on whoever's speaking, so if Laura makes sound.
Yeah, so Laura, speak
Make some
again.
sound, Laura. Try that.
What's that?
Oh, there you go.
All right, Laura, just keep talking.
Let me keep talking. So I can point out, like, this is the garage right here. And this is the property line. So there's under a foot between that there. I believe this is the abutters,
That's
property.
correct. So,
Correct.
so right now, you are the full screen, Laura, for us.
Okay.
But I'm not sure if that's the same for all the other users. Michelle, do you see the full screen?
Right now, I still see the town hall as sharing content screen, but I can see Laura's screen at the top.
Okay, so basically, every individual would have to set it up the way you just set it up for us.
Oh, yeah, however it is, whoever's speaking on, will show up full screen on this computer, and that's where the feed is coming from. So if anybody's watching on YouTube.
Oh, that's right, YouTube.
They get to see that screen.
That's
They're
right.
seeing that.
I totally forgot she was on YouTube, not on.
So
Mrs. Jingles may be able to see it.
Mr. and Mrs. Gingras, Laura, can you speak again? Try to get the screen, take control of the screen again?
Sure, so I'm still holding up the, plot plan that shows the garage, the proposed garage, encroaching into the setback.
And Mr. and Mrs. Gingras, do you see this drawing now in a bigger scale than what you were able to see it a moment ago?
Oh, maybe the neighbors are talking right now.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm muted.
No, I need to apologize. I thought I had a third copy of that, that surveyor's
too much
plan, but I don't.
Laura, that was awesome. Great job.
All right. I think we've reached an impasse here at this point, folks, unless, you know, again, I can't, I'm challenged right now to present the drawing to you, to the public. Well, I mean, it's out there, it's on the web, I know that. But I guess they don't have access to the internet. I mean, I can read the URL to them.
I think we should table
If
this.
they didn't have access to the internet, how are they connecting right now?
No, yeah, you're right. They probably have access to the internet. I have to read the whole URL to them. I could try that. Mr. and Mrs. Gingras, do you have a computer that you can try to access the ZBA's website to look at, and maybe I could read the URL to you?
Yeah, we were just trying to access what was being shown on YouTube, and it's a little bit like muddled, but we'll try maybe like accessing another link.
Well, what I'm asking you to do, I guess, is to keep that window open and to open up another window, and I think I can direct you to, if you open up another window in your browser, I think I can direct you to the ZBA portal, which should have a copy of the drawing that you can bring up on your computer for viewing. If you want to try that.
Okay.
So I'm gonna have to read to you a rather long URL. Why can't I find that piece of paper I just had? Is it over there?
Was that the same one that was on the letter?
Well, it was, but I thought you said you didn't find it on the letter. It was on, it should have been on the second page.
Over there.
Second page, bullet number if you have the certified letter that came to you, it's on bullet number 7. Original applications may be reviewed by the public at, and then that HTTPS, that location is where I can point you to the drawing. That's where all the documentation is.
Okay. Yep, so we logged on to YouTube, but the one that's on, section 7 is actually google.com, so we can try going to there. We went to the YouTube, section, which we thought was the more direct version, but now section 7 is referencing google.com.
No.
Which wasn't the same.
So follow me for a second, though. What I'm directing to you two in number 7 is just a website that has documentation. It is not this meeting. It's not the broadcasted meeting. It's just a place where I can send you to be able to pull up the drawing. So you need to leave your YouTube up and running and open up another window,
Yep.
okay?
Yep.
And then,
So you're referencing the google.com, Litchfield, nh.gov, dba portal.home?
yes, try to connect to that. When you get connected to that, you'll be connected to our website, basically our portal where we keep electronic copies of all the applications.
Okay.
When you get to that website, let me know. When you get to our portal.
Hey, Rich, are you able to see my screen right now?
It says you're starting to share content, but it hasn't filled anything yet. So it looks like you're trying to take control. We just not sure why it doesn't let us finish it.
I can see Laura's screen.
Can you? Oh, good. Maybe it just takes time. It hasn't populated here yet.
That's actually a really good sign.
Yeah, it hasn't populated on our end either yet.
That's cool.
The internet. The final frontier.
Were you able to get to the website yet?
I sent out these certified letters a few weeks ago. I wonder if I need to start doing it earlier. Never used to be a problem.
Yeah, I can try it again, but I'm not able to view the content from Google.
So when you say you can't view the content, is it just not connecting, or you're there but you can't open anything?
I'm there, but I can't open anything.
At the top of the screen, does it say next meeting February 10th, 2021?
Correct, yeah.
If you click on that, does it do anything?
It did not. I can try again.
Rich, do you want me to email her the packet?
If you can.
If she wants to give me her email address.
Would you like to give us your email address over the public airways?
Yep, it's A again, ndpg03@gmail.com.
I'm gonna need that again, so A,
Yep, A,
Yep.
and then A again, ndpg03@gmail.com.
so aandpg03@gmail.com.
Correct.
So I just sent that.
What was that, Laura? The full application with the attachments?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Laura.
Isn't this much more interesting than Londonderry?
Laura didn't hear that.
Laura puts all the stuff together for Londonderry, so they're probably running like clockwork over
Yeah, they're
there.
going smooth over there. Look at this, she's not saying nothing. She shut down.
I'm surprised John is on the line still.
John is on.
Is he?
It's his host.
Eating dinner?
Yeah, he's probably away from the desk.
Garbelly? So were you able to receive that email from Laura with the attachment?
Have to go to the Gmail account.
I haven't seen it come through yet, but hold on just a minute.
Okay.
Excuse me.
Last 4 months I've been working with a company that was all Google Mail, Google Chat, Google Meet, Google everything, Google Sheets, Google Docs. We were just bought out by a company. We're merging with somebody. We're going back to Microsoft. Yeah. All right, this is getting very long here. How's that email message looking?
The Gmail.
Is that slow?
No, but the mail itself has an attachment, so it might take a couple minutes.
Yeah.
Not too much, though.
Can you tell from the drawings how many of the trees are gonna be taken down from between the two houses?
Mr. LaJoy, are you still with us?
Yes, I am. I mean, my property line has no trees on it, so I wouldn't be able to take any trees down on the other side of the property line.
That's what I thought.
I mean, I have one major oak that I haven't decided about, but all the buffer is on the other side of the property line, so I would not be, of course, I would not be taking, any of those down.
Who's typing?
Michelle.
Is that you,
Sorry,
Michelle?
that was me.
That's all right.
That's right, you might want to mute. Thank you.
So did that email message come through by any chance with the attachment yet?
did.
All right. And are you able to scroll through, it's like the second to last page, or it might even be the last page, the second to last, I believe, is a photo of the front of the house with the driveway. And then the second page is a plot plan that shows the proposed location for the new garage. Are you looking at that?
Yes, I was briefly able to scroll through. It was a little hard to kind of like decipher things, but I was able to take a look at it within the last minute or two that it came through.
All right, good. So, like I said, then, what it shows here, pretty clearly, is that you've got an existing house with an existing driveway. What the applicant is saying is, they're proposing this detached garage. It's detached from the existing home approximately 6 feet. So that space you see between the existing dwelling and the new square, which would represent the garage, is roughly 6 feet. And then you can see on that back corner, that is, at least visually, looking at the drawing, it looks like it's touching. Based on the measurements that they've taken, what they're proposing is to be essentially 0.1 foot from the property line. They're encroaching 19.9 feet into the 20-foot setback requirement, leaving just 0.1 foot left over
From the lot line.
from the lot line. Although it looks like he says 1.1, or does that just say 1.1 inch? Does that say 1.1 foot or 1.1 inch? Can you see that?
I think it's 1.1 inch.
It's gotta be because,
1.1 inch, I do know that.
yeah,
Yeah, it's hard to say.
So 1 foot 1 inch.
it's on the line, essentially.
No, it's 1 foot. That's why we pulled the house, why we pulled it up closer to the front area.
Okay. All right, so basically a foot from the edge of the property line.
So the variance was 18.9.
Is it 18.9? I think it says 19.9. I just want to be clear on the variance, yeah, you could, all right, so the variance would be for 18.9 feet and not 19.9 feet. Is that what you're saying?
Nope.
That's what I believe to be the case.
1.1 foot.
Yeah. 1 foot 1 would be 18 foot 11.
So 18.9 is, well,
Yeah.
the variance is 18.9. All right,
So it's
all right, so we've got that clarified. So essentially, it would be just over a foot
from the lot.
from the lot line to the nearest corner of the proposed garage.
So that 1 inch, right?
And the applicant also explained that, the reason why he chose to make it a detached garage was for, primarily for cost purposes. It's angled to match the existing angle of the house, and locating it on the other side, the hardship there is the existing septic tank would have to be moved, and the existing driveway would have to be moved in order to put the garage on the other side of the house. So that's what the drawing represents, and that's what the applicant is presenting for, responses to the criteria. So I don't know if that helps you, Mr. and Mrs. Garbelli, but that's what we have. So do you have, now that you've got the drawing, and I've tried to explain what's on there, how do you feel? Do you have a better understanding now of what is being proposed?
Hi, I'm sorry, my husband had to step away for a phone call, and he's not here at the moment to hear the rest of the proceedings, so.
Yeah, so right now, we're trying to get through the public input phase of this hearing so we can move forward. So you guys are the only public, so what we're trying to ascertain here is, do you feel you have enough information to offer an opinion? I mean, you're here, so I'm assuming you want to offer an opinion. I just don't know if you have the information now to be able to do that. I mean, we've given you what we can, what we have.
You're on. My husband's gonna talk to this.
Okay. So, just to be clear, we're in the public input phase of a hearing to decide whether this variance is going to be granted or not. We have provided you with all the information now, since Laura sent you the full application with the attachment, so you have everything that's available to us. This is your opportunity to speak in favor or opposed, or say anything you want to say with regard to the application. Once we close public input, you wouldn't have that opportunity to provide any further testimony either in favor or against. So this is your chance.
Any further input?
Mr. and Mrs. Garbelli, are you still with us?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Can you hear us now?
Can you hear us now?
I can hear you now.
Okay. You might want to repeat that, Rick.
All right, so what I'm trying to say is we are in the public input phase of this hearing. This hearing is to decide whether the applicant is going to get their variance to build this garage or not. So during the public input phase is for folks like yourself to offer any feedback to this board as to whether you're in favor or opposed, or any questions that you might have on this particular application. This is the moment to do it. If we were to, hear no further public input, we would typically close the public input. Once we do that, we can no longer take any additional public input. We would move forward with making a decision on the case. So right now what I'm asking is, do you have any input on this particular case?
So we're just, again, like, as long as it's not encroaching upon our property, then that's all that we, care about. I just want to make sure it's not, bringing down the property value of either of our homes, because that just doesn't make any sense.
So I can speak to the first part of your concern. The application before us tonight does not go over the property line. What it does do is it cuts 19 feet into the 20-foot setback requirement, okay, which is represented on the drawing. So you can see that on the drawing. To the second part, this board is not in a position to tell you one way or another whether your property would be impacted or not. That would be something that either you would have had to have gone off and got, a real estate, or you could offer your own opinion right now and tell us what you think. But, we're not in a position to actually tell you that this would or would not impact the value of your home.
Should we explain to her what the setback, how the setback works?
So, so one of our board members here is asking if it might be appropriate to help you understand what setbacks are. Do you understand what setbacks are from the property lines?
Yes.
Okay. So again, that's what the applicant is seeking here, is the right to be able, or the ability to be able to build within that setback zone, whereas our ordinances say you should not. The zoning board has the power to grant relief from those ordinances if the applicant meets all of the 5 criteria that they've addressed in the application. So that's what the board would move forward with deliberating once we get past the public input phase. So, you know, if,
So
go ahead.
Can I add something? Thank you. So I honestly, truly believe that this will not impact anybody's property value in the entire neighborhood. You know, this is not Nashua, New Hampshire, where, you know, you have 10,000-foot lots. So somebody's not going to look at a property and say, that garage is too close to mine because we have so much property here. And I think it just increases the value of every house in the neighborhood when somebody, you know, I'm putting on a garage. If my neighbor puts on an addition, that benefits everybody. That's just my personal opinion.
Thank you. And Michelle, I don't know if you know, that was the applicant, I believe, speaking, Mr. LaJoy.
That's correct.
So back to Mr. and Mrs. Garbelli. Again, how do you feel? Are you satisfied? Have you gotten your questions answered? Do you have any further questions or input for the board tonight?
So yeah, back to Mr. and Mrs. Gingras.
Gingras, sorry.
Correct. We did hear, yes, okay. We did hear everything, and I don't think we have any further questions at this point. Again, the only thing that we would add is correct. It's not Nashua. It's Litchfield, thankfully. So we do have an acre minimum here, unlike other areas. But the only thing that we would add is that there are other properties within our various subdivisions that are not detached garages. So from that perspective, we're a little bit like leery because obviously attached versus detached, there is a little bit of a difference there.
Understood. All right. I think we've heard the concerns from the abutter. Mixed feelings is what I'm getting out of that. Do I have any more questions from the board? Laura, do you have any questions you might want to ask at this time?
I do not.
Mr. LaJoy, do you have anything further you would like to add to the board or to the you know?
Yeah. Well, thank you. Yes, my last comment is, you know, yes, there are plenty of houses that have attached, and if you drive around, there's plenty of houses that have detached. Even if I attach this, I believe that I would still need a variance. So attached or detached at this point is a moot issue, I feel.
So is this garage a single-story garage, or are you going to have a room above the garage?
Oh, no, it's just a single-story garage with not even storage space above.
So it's commensurate with the existing home in that sense too, then?
Correct. It's one story, not even stairs being put in place. It's going to have a door to go into the backyard, a side door to walk out, and 2 doors in the front. That's about it. Very vanilla.
Judging from the looks of this, you're going to have to make modifications to your existing drive just to be able to pull into the garage. Is that right?
That's what I'm trying. That's yes, that's correct.
So then the driveway becomes an encroachment.
Yeah, but I don't think driveways
And
matter.
no, I don't think so. No, that's not a correct statement. I do not believe that will be an issue.
What's that?
You can have a driveway. You can pave your whole lot, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Well, you might have to keep a certain amount of impervious, I don't know. All right, so I don't know do we have any further members of the public that wish to speak either in favor or opposed or have any questions? All right, hearing no further public input on this, I think I'll ask for a motion to close public input.
I'll make a motion to close public input.
All right, I have a motion to close public input from Al. John seconds. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing no further discussion on the motion, all those in favor say aye.
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 And opposed, so the motion to close public input carries 4-0. So at this point, we're done taking testimony on the case. The board's going to deliberate on this and try to see if we have a consensus, either in favor or against the applicant. So let me ask you guys, I mean, anybody want to start? Anybody want to go first? Tell me how you feel, or you want me to just go through each line item?
Might be easier to go through each line item.
Laura, you okay if I go through each line item?
Yep, absolutely.
All right, let's start with that. Beginning with criteria number 1, the variance will not be contrary to the public interest because the response is, in summary, the proposed garage is not going to alter the essential character of the locality or threaten the public health, safety, or welfare. How do you guys feel about that? Anybody got a feeling on it?
I disagree. I think it would alter the health, the character of the neighborhood, and I think it would affect the health, safety, and welfare. That's a significant encroachment. That's only 1 feet from the property line, and if those folks next to them wanted to put on an addition or do something else, I think there's some safety concerns there. And having it so close to the property line like that, I think does alter the character of the neighborhood.
I agree with Laura.
I do too.
And I'm trying to get my reference out here and try to figure out what the specific purpose of the setbacks are. Is that going to be under 310 or is that going to be somewhere else? Districts, dimensional requirements, doesn't really go into why, unless that's somewhere else. All right, so basically it sounds like we have 1, 2, 3 people think it fails on number 1. Yeah, I'm on the fence on that one.
The only reason why I kind of feel like if it was attached to the house, we wouldn't have such an encroachment. And I think it would probably be more of a harmony of the neighborhood if everyone else's are attached.
I know. I can recall of one instance where someone had a similar situation and limited themselves to a single-car garage because it was just
Yes.
impossible to do.
Well, the other issue would be is if they changed the shape of the garage and made it deeper and narrower, you could actually pull 10 feet in. I'm not saying that that's the.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I don't know how that would work either, but, all right. So let me ask you this, Laura. Procedurally, I should continue to go through the rest of the criteria. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes.
You should go through all the criteria.
All right. So let's move on to criteria number 2. The spirit of the ordinance is observed because it does not alter the essential character of the neighborhood or threaten public health, safety, or welfare, thus being in the spirit of the ordinance.
So that one, that's, of all of them, I think that one fails the most in my book, is that the spirit of the ordinance is that you have setbacks and separation between lots, and essentially, regardless of whether there are other options, it is totally nullifying any separation between lots. So I think the spirit of the ordinance has not been met with this variance.
essentially because the spirit of the ordinance is dense, to control density, you know, allow that kind of spacing between structures. How about you, Laura? Number 2?
I agree. Yep, I agree with what was just said. The spirit is to keep separation between structures, and it's not doing that if we grant it.
Yeah, and this is where I thought I was going to have the most issue right now is, you know, I mean, we've granted relief. However, this is just such I mean, it's basically eliminating the setback altogether at that point. And, you know, I'm not sure how you can. I'm not sure that I'm not sure that they've demonstrated that they've taken all the steps necessary, or that they could have done certain things differently to have reduced that impact somewhat here. So that's where I'm having a large problem. Let me move to number 3. Substantial justice is done because the house was not centered on the lot by the builder. The septic is located on the side of the house where a variance would not be added, but this will add significant cost to the project if it needs to be moved. I mean, I think they demonstrated the location of the building and so forth.
Yeah, that one in hardship, there's definitely hardship associated with the lot. So I think that's the only one I would support is, of all of them,
Yep.
there is a hardship.
Yep, agreed.
But
But three is actually a balancing act, where you balance the loss between each, for the public and the property owner. And I think in this particular case, that the loss to the public and not keeping the separation between lots for the health and safety that we spoke about before far outweighs any gain to the applicant and by allowing them to obtain the variance. So I think they fail on 3 too. I think the balancing act tips in favor of supporting the gain to the public as far as keeping things separate and for health and safety.
Yeah, and when you speak to the separation, it's the amount of encroachment that is really the test here, right? I mean, if it's just essentially, it's going too far. Is that what you're saying?
That's what I would say, and I mean, I'm sure it was no fault of the property owner to begin with, but the shed was, you know, on the other property, you know, over the property line too. So just the mere fact of, you know, just understanding those property lines and keeping things separate for the benefit of both property owners, I think is crucial.
All right, I would agree with you guys on number 3. The values of surrounding properties are not diminished because adding a garage to the property will increase the value of this property and all surrounding properties. From what I'm hearing, from what you guys are saying, it may not decrease the owner's property, but it does run the risk of diminishing the value of the abutter's property. It would limit them. Well, I mean, I guess you can't say, I don't know if it would
Doesn't
limit
really, I
them.
don't know that it limits them because they can still build within the setbacks.
Within their envelope, yeah,
But then now you have crowding and whatnot.
yeah.
yeah, so if any of them, this one I have the least issue with. I think that in general, the neighborhood is not gonna be adversely affected, just because the neighbor already has a wooded lot in between, and there is some separation.
Yeah, but we don't know what the width of that really is though.
Correct.
Because I listened to the testimony and he said 30 yards. Well, 30 yards is now 90 feet. So 90 feet is actually the half of the frontage of the lot next to it.
Correct.
So it's
Yeah.
not, I don't
It
know.
does limit that, but I don't know if that has any effect on property value. So for me, I don't think there's an issue there, but again, that's my point of view.
So Laura, how did you feel on number 4?
The value of surrounding properties, and again, it's not the value of his property, meaning the applicant, it's the value of other people's property. And I believe that the folks right next door to him, I think it would affect their property value. in a negative way. And I think that's just based on like a common sense look at it, because they might have all that space now, but if they want to add a garage, or if they want to put a shed, do something on that side, now they have this shed that's literally almost on their property line. And I think, people moving in, if somebody wanted to do an accessory dwelling or do something else on that property, might have an issue with that, having another structure so close.
Yeah, I'm in agreement that it would fail number 4 again too, unfortunately. On number 5, little enforcement of the provisions of the ordinance would result in an unnecessary hardship because, and the response is placement of the structure on the other side of the house will cause us to have to move the septic and pave a new driveway. I feel this is a reasonable request that will not alter the character of the neighborhood.
So that one I would vote yes, there's a hardship.
I mean, I certainly feel that there's a hardship. I want to get Laura's legal spin on that one too. How do you feel about number 5, Laura?
I think they failed on number 5 too. I mean, the first thing we have to think about is the uniqueness, and you may have the argument saying that, the way the house is positioned, that it's unique, but that's only one step in the analysis. The second step would be whether it's fair, even if you find that the property is unique, whether it is fair to apply this particular zoning ordinance on the property, and it is fair to apply it on the property, given all the other concerns that we just spoke about. So I do think there's a fair and substantial relationship between the purpose of the ordinance and applying it on this particular property. So therefore, I think it doesn't pass on this criteria either.
So in our decision, do we typically reference each of the criteria, or just do an overall, approve or denial on the application itself? What should I capture in the decision document?
If the variance is denied, then all facts, like if it's denied, then for every single criteria that it was denied on, that should be stated as part of the decision.
Yeah, so you need the
You
roll call
really need
for
to
all.
detail facts and circumstances
Right.
in the decision, especially in the case of a denial, if that's the route the board goes.
All right.
So we'd roll call each line.
So should I roll call vote on each particular criteria?
No, I wouldn't. I would just do, have somebody make a motion, and then when you go through, I think from the discussion, you can pull out, if it was denied, the reasons for the denial, and if it's granted, then that's a different story. And I can help with the notice of decision too, Rich, if you need help with that.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind, and I was also going to ask you to help maybe with making a motion, when we get to that point, some kind of summary motion that captures the salient points. Yeah.
So just a quick question on process. So for us, because we rarely have had this issue, but for us, for someone to vote overall, we would have to individually vote yes on all 5 instances to then to vote for it.
Correct, to grant it.
Right.
If you failed on any test, you'd be voting no.
Okay. And that's, I just want to verify that, which is what I thought. I just want to make sure.
So, I think we have enough of a consensus on the board here to ask for a motion on this particular application. So I am going to do that. I'm going to ask for a motion on case number 2021-02. Laura, would you mind helping us try?
Yep, I don't think we need to go through and state in a motion the reasons for granting or denying the motion. I think that's going to be referenced in the notice of decision.
Okay.
So it would just be a motion to grant or deny, and then the notice of decision would specify the reasons supporting the outcome of the motion.
All right.
So with that, I will take a motion in case number 2021-02 to deny the applicant's request for a variance from LDO section 310 to allow the construction of a detached garage that will encroach 18.9 feet into the side setback requirement of 20 feet and 0.9 feet into the front setback requirement of 50 feet.
I'll second that motion.
So we have a motion
Deny.
from Laura, we have seconded from John. Any further discussion on the motion? All right, hearing no further discussion on the motion, I'll take a vote. All those in favor of the motion to deny the application, say aye.
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 All those opposed? So the motion to deny has been carried. So, Mr. LaJoy, your request as submitted has been denied. You can challenge our decision, which I can send you information about what that process is like to challenge the zoning board's decision. You'd basically have to file your reasoning as to why you think we erred in our decision. It would be more or less a technical error that you'd be calling out on our part. That would be the first step in your challenge of our decision. And the other alternative is, if you make significant changes to your plan, you could potentially come back again for a variance on a new plan. But that new plan has to be materially different from the existing plan that you would have submitted on this particular application.
Okay, do we have a say right now? This is Mrs. LaJoy. I just want to comment that, number one, that we disagree with what your decision is. We don't think that it would depreciate any values in our neighborhood at all. And the encroachment is very minimal. Unfortunately, because of this decision, we will probably be putting the property up for sale and moving out of Litchfield, which is really, really unfortunate because we love the community and we'd love to stay here, but based on this decision, we feel that we will have to leave the community, which is totally unfortunate. Our kids grew up here, graduated from Campbell High School, and we just really, like I said, it's unfortunate.
I understand.
It's just too bad. It's just too bad based on what we've heard, which, like I said, which would be a minimal impact. It's very unfortunate.
So the next steps that we have to do is we have to write up our decision. It'll contain more detail around why the decision was, well, it'll capture exactly what we discussed here tonight. And I will be mailing I'll either email you a soft copy or I'll mail you a hard copy, depending on what I have for contact information on you.
Okay.
It's 30 days. If you want to appeal, you have 30 days to appeal. Like I said, I can send you any information on that.
It's not worth our time at this point. No, it's not worth our time. We'll just take your decision and we'll just move on. We appreciate all the time you put into it, and all the effort, but we're just probably gonna just move on and leave the community.
I'm sorry it turned out the way it did.
I'm very sorry too. It really is kind of sad.
I don't think we have anything further on the agenda this evening.
Motion to adjourn.
So,
Okay.
all right, so Laura, I think we're all set. I'm gonna take a motion. Are you speaking, Laura?
Nope.
Oh,
I was
okay.
going to make a motion to adjourn. I thought that's what you asked.
Yeah, John Beach. So I have a motion to adjourn from John, and I think Laura just seconded it. So, any further discussion on adjournment? Hearing none. All those in favor to adjourn the meeting, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. So the meeting is adjourned at 8:35, roughly. Thank you. Oh, well, then the clock in here is wrong.